Hi, I'm Forbes Carlile. It's widely agreed that for continued good health and consequent longevity, good nutrition and regular exercise is necessary. This should be continued out daily, and there should be some resistance exercises of a general nature aimed at maintaining muscular strength, supplementing with some aerobic activity such as swimming or jogging, walking, even riding the stationary bicycle. This, of course, is the counsel of perfection. You don't need to find the time to use weights in the gymnasium. The basic equipment required for these exercises you'll see demonstrated in the short video is your own body as resistance and about 2.5 meters of rubber tubing, approximately 1 centimeter in diameter. This can be spear gun rubber. At home you could in addition use a couple of 2 kilogram dumbbells. The tubing can easily be carried almost everywhere. Your body is likely to be continually with you. You'll see demonstrated a simple routine of exercising which is carried out most days in addition to running up the stairs of his 24-story apartment block in San Francisco. They're demonstrated by Brian Brown in 2004 in his 70th year. Brian is a former swimming pupil of mine who migrated to the University of Michigan and then to UCLA Graduate School. He once won the Australian Junior Surf Belt Championship. These exercises can, with some benefit, be regularly carried out by young and older individuals, by athletes and by non-athletes. You can be confident they will help keep you fit for sporting activities and for living. Perhaps not all the muscles in your body will be exercised in this routine, but a large number will be. There's a mandatory caveat that those involved in any exercise program should be cleared as medically fit to participate. And finally, this is if you happen to be a swimmer, in the arm and shoulder exercises simulating the pull back, keep your elbows higher than the hand, higher than is demonstrated by Brian. This is in order to practice the form of the crawl stroke pulling action, which is generally recommended today. All this was recorded at 16 Cross Street, Rydye, in one take on Christmas Day 2003.
2, 3, 4, 5. Hi, I'm Brian Brown. I learned these exercises from Forbes in the early 50s, late 40s, and I've modified them to use in the morning when I get up and then when I go on trips. I have a series of exercises I go through. I do push-ups, sit-ups, some flexibility exercise, and then I use these bands here, surgical tubing. Actually, they're modified surgical tubing. I bought these from St. Francis Sports Shop, St. Francis Hospital in San Francisco. It's $1 a foot. I bought 12 feet because I'm over 6 feet.
How old are you now, Brian?
I'll be 69 in 3 days. And you can get them in all different widths and strengths. I felt this was enough for me. I might graduate to something a little stronger soon, or you can get them less or more. So I have a routine I go through every morning, and when I'm on the road and I can't access a pool. I do this as an adjunct also to swimming, and the days I don't swim, I go to the basement of my building, and then I run to the roof, and that's approximately 24 flights, and then I walk back down, and that's don't go very fast, but I do it. So let me start off. The first thing I do are sit-ups. I do 30 of these. I won't do 30 right now. I'll just do a few. And then I lean back and do the flexibility exercise we used to do in the late 40s, early 50s as Palm Beach swimmers. And then I do this, and again, I have very little flexibility in my ankles, but I do these to try and improve. And I think that Forbes got us going on that from the Kippeth book. Then I go through a small routine with light weights like this, and I raise these up that way. I do 20 of these, nothing great, and then I do 50 of these. Then I swing left, right, left, right, left. And I'm very inflexible, so I will apologize, but I try and touch my toes. They don't come anywhere near it. And then I do this. I do that 20 times, and I do this 50 times. And I also do this 50 times. I think I've remembered everything. I write this down on the board at home. And then, having done this, I do 3 sets of 50 sit-ups. Now you'll note that no equipment is required for this. And then I do this sort of back exercise like that. And I do that 20 times. So it'll be 150 sit-ups, 20 of these, and then I can't do this very well here. It's not much room, but I go from side to side. And that ends that exercise. Then I take the bands. And again, there are many more things you could do than I do. I'll just do it. I take the bands, and I do the hardest part of the bands first, which is I wrap them around my hands like this. And the tighter I wrap them, the more resistance I get. And I do this 20 times. And then I do this 50 times. And then with the bands I come down like this, rewrap them, and I do this 50 times. And you can vary the strength of the bands or the tightness you're taking. And then from the old Palm Beach towel exercise, I don't get in much. I try and flexibility. I used to get in a lot closer. I suppose I could, but then I pull my shoulder out. And I do that 20 times. I do this 150. Now, Forbes, I think we have to go outside to show the rest of the exercise.
Okay.
And if I'm in a hotel on a business trip, I normally find a much stronger knob than this and wrap the bands around it. Or I find a heater or something like that so I can, well, let's not do it here. I'll pull Forbes' anchor up, but let's go outside and show you what else. Now I do some additional exercise with the bands, and as I said, you can do them indoors, except at the handle there might have broken. So I could come to a place like this, a fence, just take them very simply and wrap them around the fence. You might want to double wrap them. And I've got to make sure they're equal or not. I've got to pull a little bit more out here. And again, it depends how energetic you are. I step away. I do this 20 times, like that. That's really a good exercise, I find. It really strengthens me across here. Now finally, because swimming is my hobby and I still like to swim, try and swim about 3,000 yards four times, sometimes 5 times a week. And basically still stick to the old basic, do most of my work basic. I do this 50 times. 50 times. You can step back farther. Then I do this 100 times. I count them. Then 50 again. And then another 100. And finally another 50. And that's when I put my shoes on. I go to the basement and I run to the ceiling. I run to the roof rather. Sometimes I don't do it every day. If I'm going to have a hard swim workout, I let it go. But every trip I go on, which are mainly USAID missions, United States Agency for USAID. I'm a subcontractor on the aid programs from time to time. I was in Jordan, Kosovo. I just take these with me. I quite often don't return with them because the people that work there want them. I think that's about it, Forbes.
Okay.
Forbes, I forgot to show you the first thing I do every morning is this exercise for my rotator cuffs, I believe. I keep my elbows in close to my body, my arms straight out at 90 degrees like this, and I step away a little bit to give some tensility, and I do this 50 times on each arm. Like that. And this really seems to help me avoid shoulder injuries.